Hello, I'm Michael Redder with Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, and in a collaboration effort with the Ohio Division of Wildlife for the 2021 OPHI Symposium, we're bringing to you a series of videos that covers common site preparation methods. This is in an effort to demonstrate common site preparation techniques so that landowners and managers can better understand the outcomes of those practices and choose which outcome best suits their project needs. Now in this next video, let's look at rototilling and what rototilling can do. First, we're going to look at cool season grass and rototilling. As you can see, what a rototiller is, essentially it's the same thing that you may be familiar with as a garden tiller. It has rotating blades that rotates in the opposite direction that the tractor is moving. It's very efficient at cutting into the soil and mixing and incorporating that layer as well as mixing with the soil. On a close-up view, you can actually see the dirt being turned and moved, and in that mixing effect that happens while rototilling. Rototilling is very effective in one-pass applications of really incorporating and mixing both the top layer of soil along with the vegetation and thatch. So as you can see here from the first pass to the second pass, it does a very efficient job as mentioned. You get really good incorporation. It really does a good job about mixing. This is not a very deep application, just within a few inches of the surface that it incorporates that top layer of dirt, vegetation, soil, and thatch. Now let's take a look at native warm season grass stand. As you can see, the grass has been pre-mowed ahead of time, as you can see there in the bottom where it's been chopped up. And as the rototiller moves across, you can see that there is a little bit of buildup of that loose material, but it is incorporated and chopping it up as we saw in the cool season field, and is leaving the end result with a nice incorporation of that thatch or straw from the native grasses as well as the soil. Now here again, we're just looking at the end, the pre-site with that chopped up vegetation material that's looking to be incorporated. And as you can see from the first pass, it did a decent job of mixing that thatch in with the layer of soil and incorporating it and preparing the site for a decent seedbed. Here on the second pass, as you can see in the front, there is a little bit of buildup from that straw material that's happening, so that's one thing you have to be careful of and keep an eye on. But as the machine is moving through, it is still doing a decent job of incorporating that in with the soil. Now here's a slow motion view of that where you can see that little bit of buildup on the front end that you do need to be careful of when dealing with any kind of vegetation that is longer and looser, as opposed to what we saw with the cool season grass of that short tight. Now this stand here, this is the native warm season grasses that has not been mowed ahead of time. And as you can see, with that large litter and thatch on the bottom, it is beginning to become entangled and build up within the machine. And as you look on the back there, while it did kind of more or less chop up the thatch, it barely started to do anything into the soil. So in this close-up view that we're looking here, you can really see that building up on that front end. That can lead to a lot of problems, tangling up your rototiller and then causing issues with shearing from your PTO shaft. Here is a picture of that entanglement that has happened with the native warm season grass that was unmowed. As you can see, it has really bound itself and wrapped around the rototiller itself, leading itself to really be incapable of performing, and that's why we stopped the process for this application. Now let's take a look at some of the results from this tilling. Here's the cool season grass follow-up. This is from June. You can see that there is still good incorporation in bare soil, but some weed pressure coming back. This is what that same site looks like in July. You can see the foxtail and the weed pressure has really come on from that incorporating of that soil matter. So we went through and mowed it, and here's what it looks like after we mowed off that top layer, so that you can see that yes, while it did incorporate and mix up, we did have a large weed response from the rototilling. Here's the native warm season grass strip where we did the rototilling. You can see the warm season grass strip there in the middle, kind of like you did in the cool season, as well as the foxtail building on both sides. And here's the control picture where you can see the native warm season grass stand that had nothing done to it. So from the picture, there was a little bit done from the rototilling. It did incorporate some of that soil and did set back some of those grasses. So it did a decent job of setting it back and reducing some of the stem structure in the native grasses. But overall, there was a pretty good response from the grass structure just because there was not deep enough incorporation or damage to the root mass from those native warm season grasses. Well, I thank you for viewing the rototilling video today, and hopefully this helps you make decisions on some of the practices you'd like to use forward and what the rototilling would be right for you. Thank you.